All right, so my name is Muneeb again. I'm a student activist. I've been doing a lot of organizing for the past about 5 years. I started out here at the UTM Student Center. I organized my first rally for lowering tuition fees. And yeah, I've been doing a lot of work in social justice kind of activities. And I contacted Amira just to get to know, what this rally is about. And I wanted to get myself plugged in to, fight for human rights. And I think that's why we're all here today. But that's a bit of an introduction to me. What I'm here to do is just to train people of rallying and how to do marshalling for this march that we're going to have. And I think this is one of the largest marches that we're going to see for this specific issue in all of Peel region. So this is great. And I see the momentum building up, and I've been hearing a lot of people downtown talking about this issue and saying that this, this is important. We should all be supporting each other. But I'll give you a short clip of the agenda here. We have introductions, so I introduce myself. The importance of a rally is because it's people coming together to send out a message beyond what social media or any kind of media is doing. Sure, we're using the tools and everything, but having a collection of people is going to make that difference to say, we're here because we care about this, right? And it's going to make a whole lot of difference to the people that are your audience. But I kind of want to ask you, who do you think your audience members are when you're hosting a rally? Just throw it out there. Anyone, not just Ridwan, but anyone.
Your audience number?
Who's your audience when you're running a rally? Like, you're in a rally, why are you there? Who's your audience? So that's a question to everyone.
I feel like everybody.
Everybody, but who is everybody?
The government?
The government. Good. Yeah, the government is definitely there to see us. So that's why we're there.
We want to try to get the message to the right people. You know what I mean? People are sitting higher up making those decisions.
Of course.
You want to get to them some way. And when you have so many people, I mean that.
It's a bigger statement that way. These are voters. These are people that are paying your checks. It is, right. Who else other than the government?
Muneeb, I think there are way too many stakeholders.
Stakeholders. Okay.
To further define stakeholders, there are the individuals who are being impacted, and you want to give a message to them that you stand behind them. There are policymakers, governments, just not policymakers in federal or provincial government, but your local policymakers. So, and then the audience, which is right standing in front of you. So there's so many stakeholders, and we need to ensure that the message is broader. We don't limit our message just that, hey, we are standing with Palestinians, or there's a voice against Jews. I'm going to repeat what Aryan said. The message has to be broader, that it is about human rights, and that's what we're doing.
Right. You mentioned a good word, stakeholders there, and that's gonna, it resonates with a lot of different groups that are interested in seeing the outcome of a specific conflict, if you will, or an issue. But also people that are affected by it personally, so Palestinians in this case, and other people that have been persecuted or occupied. But of course, who are other stakeholders in this, right? Who are the people that are spoken to every day but are not saying anything? The people watching the news, right? People that are not in this room, people that are not taking part of rallies. These are the people that are uneducated on things, but either they're interested or they're not interested, but they need a reason to hear it, or they need to see something to feel inspired to hear something. A lot of people have blinders on, so that's what I feel is the importance of a rally, to get a message across, right? And of course, how to construct a rally, that's kind of where I come in for this, but we'll talk about that later. But it's good, you all have that heart and mind, and we're all pissed off of what's happening there. All right, so this is just a brief agenda again. I'm going to facilitate the training now, and then Amira will probably come in for this, for doing the briefing, as well as the next steps of what's going to happen. And of course, the movement that we're trying to start here in the Peel region, especially in Mississauga, I think that this rally is not going to be the end-all, be-all thing of movements. This is going to go into something else. This is going to snowball into a larger movement that we want to do, and hopefully take over the GTA with other affiliated groups and building larger coalitions. At least that's my hope. Or hopefully you're there for the next steps as well. Oops. All right, so marshals. Some of you have mentioned that you've been to a rally before. Who's ever been to a rally?
Who's ever been to a rally?
Yeah, ever. Okay, so yeah, almost everyone. All right, that's great. There's going to be quite a few of you that are not in the room, whoever's watching on the camera, or video, I should say, that have never been part of a rally, but they feel so enthusiastic to be part of something and volunteer for a larger cause and to help others, to get the message across. And that's where marshals come in. And the role for this, and I'm going to call all of you marshals, if I had a sword, I would knight every one of you to be marshals. You are these roles to peacekeepers, right? And some of you have seen some of my Facebook commentary, and I've mentioned that I don't really trust the police. I'm going to talk about my experience, but the role of marshals is to keep the peace between your ralliers, your protesters, and everyone, and to facilitate the march and to ensure that you're the main spokespeople, other than Amira, but you're going to be the spokespeople between the people and bystanders and media, police, whatsoever. So your roles are very, very important in order to achieve a peaceful rally, right? Facilitate the action as planned. We have a plan that's going to be ordained for everyone, and Amira has posted up some pictures of our rally. And we're going to act as an information source for planners and protesters. To remain safe, feel good about the message. We're not going to be angry people. You know, it's really important to stay true to your cause, but of course stay passionate and welcoming, right? Angry people do not make for a welcoming area, right? And you know, act as a buffer between police, hecklers, and bystanders. And I'll go through some of the incidences that I've faced and some of the solutions that we could deal with, because I guarantee, and I've been to every, lately at least, that Palestinian rally that there has been, and you'll always see hecklers, you know, either waving an Israeli flag, or you know, people that are just against Muslims, you know, people that are racist, Islamophobic, or just on the means of Zionism they're supportive. You're going to see that, and we're going to have to deal with circumstances that we're going to, you know, have to tackle together. All right, so there's 3 different types of marshals, especially when you're actually proceeding with the march itself. You're going to have some front marshals, and these people are going to be leading at a slow pace. They keep the march moving steadily and watch for obstructions and assist with directing marchers. This group is actually very important because I've seen rallies where they've broken up. Like you see a whole gap of people kind of move up forward, then there's an empty gap here, and then another gap here, and then the police block them. Or they go to another route or another street, not knowing the main way. And it's really important for the front marshals to, you know, stay at the helm, keep things slow and steady, but to also maintain the peace and make sure that there's no cars coming in the way. You know, at that point, like, you're going to also have to be guiding traffic in some cases if the police aren't doing their job. You know, and from what I understand, the police are contacted and they are aware, so they will be doing their part. But again, your objective is to protect the people, and that's going to be your role. Then you have your side marshals, and in most circumstances, you have a road, and it's going to have an opposing lane that's oncoming traffic and outgoing traffic. Most times, we're going to have a rally where we're going to take up one side of the street. So opposing traffic is going to be coming against us. And we're going to need side marshals to make sure that we're there to protect the people, obviously not jumping in front of the cars or obstructing traffic, but we're going to be there to line up in between the protesters, the police, and the cars themselves. And then, of course, we have the back marshals that are just as important as any of the other marshals. They bring it up the rear. They set the pace and make sure no one's left behind. In case there's injuries, in case there's trash on the floor. I mean, you're not going to be on active garbage duty or anything, but back marshals are just as important as anything else. And who knows who's going to be trailing your protesters that are there for your cause. This, obviously, what we're standing up for is a very contentious issue, and we're going to see a lot of opposition here. Our government isn't supportive. There's going to be a lot of different groups that are stakeholders that are also interested in keeping the conflict ongoing in Gaza to kill everyone. These are people that are supportive, unfortunately, and we're going to see those people arrive. I mean, the last rally I went to, there was a woman beaten at a subway station in front of her child because of people that were opposed to the things that she was standing up for. And what was she wearing? A hijab and one of these. That's it. So we need to be very careful and always stand true, you know, what we stand up for, right? And of course, to make sure that things are peaceful. All right, so tips for good marshalling. Don't ever panic. I'll tell you some of my experiences of what kind of rallies I've been a part of. My first rally was a drop tuition fees rally, and it had about 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 people. So it was like the first time I've ever done anything, and I was just one of the back marshals. But I saw a lot of things that could have been done better, and I've seen altercations come up. I've seen people that are ultra-conservative that wanted tuition fees to go higher. Believe it or not, they get a little physical. But, you know, people always do that. But the moment you see a marshal become in a mode of panic, they actually put fear and panic into everyone else that they're trying to guide. So you, of all people, need to be the most calmest people you ever see. You need to be passionate, don't get me wrong, and always be leading the chants, but don't panic when you see something go wrong. Because if you start losing your grip, everyone else will as well. Stress is contagious. just like smiling is contagious, right? So people are going to be looking to you to become that contagious person. Participants are looking for you for guidance. So your mood becomes their mood, and smiling is the best way to get things going. Have fun and join in the cheers. You know, you're not the police, you're not anything else, right? You're not some higher authority. You are one with the people. You have a role, and you're helping to facilitate something, but you're not managing people, right? And that's something that you need to keep up in your mind and be that source of energy that people need to see to keep the vibe going, right? Don't do the police's job. Police love their job. That's why they're policemen, or police people. And they're very defensive of keeping their job intact. They're well paid, and sometimes they could get really aggressive when trying to show their authority. So please be mindful. You're not doing the policeman's job. You're also not trying to push people back or anything, because you could make a situation even worse, or even create a situation if you're too aggressive about your position. Wear sturdy shoes. Don't wear flats. Don't wear slippers. Don't wear these kind of things. Wear sneakers. Wear very comfortable shoes where you could do large amounts of walking. You know, imagine that you're running a triathlon, right? That's the kind of thing that, I mean, your attire should be comfortable, but your shoes are the most important thing when doing this. So make sure you wear comfortable shoes and clothing, of course. If the entire crowd is in danger or starts to panic, you need to tell everyone to sit down. You know, there'll be times when you don't know what's happening. There's a kerfuffle or some kind of altercation over there. You can't really see what's going on. It's your role, once you get the message or you think that this is the right way to go, there's going to be a few team leads for each of the side marshals and what side. But we're going to have some designated people that are going to make a call about what they're going to do when an altercation happens. And if you feel that something is getting way out of hand and you don't know what to do, and if you're in the middle of the street and there's cars coming, tell everyone to sit. And that's, at one time, you could get everyone to just calm down, chill, take a breather. But if people are fighting, their chances are they're not going to sit down. So you'll be able to assess the situation. You could contact the viable people that I'm going to describe later on to handle situations like that. And if the police need to step in, they might have to. But we're going to be the judges of that first, because the police don't get to touch our people, right? Obviously, don't jump in if the police are already doing their job, right? Just, you know, keep yourself safe at all times. Right? Yeah. And then in this manner, it keeps people safer, more non-threatening. They will understand the space around them, and they'll understand what they need to do to, you know, help the situation out. All right? What to do at intersections? This could get pretty troublesome. Police sometimes do their job, but at times that they don't, people start making their own way up. Right? So we already have a rally point and like a circulation of where we're going to be going, and Amira will talk about that. But I will need 3 people to help me, at least, just based on, actually 4. So how about you 4, just in front? Yep, you as well. And you, come on, man. All right, so these are our marshals right now, and let's picture them as side marshals. You know, front marshals will have to take this effect right now, so you can stand in the line. But once you get into an intersection and we have to take a right, you know, let's say that we're coming from Celebration Square. And what's the street that we're turning on the first turn that we go on?
Burnham Thorpe and Harry
Burnham Thorpe, okay. So that's going to be a bunch of condominiums, and it's going to be a big street, right? So 4 lanes. And we're going to have to turn onto something. Let's say this is Celebration Square, and we're turning onto Burnham Thorpe right here. I need you to stand right here. You to stand right here. And then you 2 are going to curve a bit. So you could stand over here, and then you stand right in the middle. Space out a bit. So in this circumstance, you're already guiding me. And let's say I'm a rallier and I don't know what I'm doing, but okay, there's already a blockade of people here, right? So these people are going to be extending their arms to their sides, and you're creating a barricade for people to guide through, right? And this is where the police aren't there and anything, but if circumstances like this arise, this is going to be your group of people. But of course,
Where are we standing?
if you're at the front, this is how you're going to guide it, and then you're going to maintain your positions. Right. But hopefully, we have about 50 to 60 of our marshals to be around. You can put your arms down. Thanks, sorry. Hopefully, we'll have about 50 to 60. These people will not stay in this place. They will be replaced by the next set of marshals coming in, and those would be the side marshals. So you can maintain your positions at the front, and then the side marshals will come in to guide traffic. And then once the next row comes, those people will leave, and then the next 4 will come on, and so on and so forth. Hopefully, we'll get enough people to come, and we'll do another informational thing for them. But that's the kind of thing that happens, and you have to maintain that. I would suggest that you you face the traffic. But since if police aren't there, but if the police are there, and most of the time they will be, you will just face the crowd and just make sure you make eye contact with people to tell them to move. Okay? Thank you. Thanks, man. All right, so yeah. All right, bystander relations. There will be hecklers, all right? And hecklers are people that are just there to cause a disturbance, to stop your messaging, to aggravate you. That's their biggest concern, that they want to aggravate you and make you into angry people. You know, if they see me, they're going to probably turn me into angry Muslim and go angry Muslim on everyone, that whole stereotypical thing, right? But we're not going to let that happen. We're there for a proper reason and a true reason, and that's for human rights. But you will come across hecklers, and marshals should always be the ones to face the problem. I've led parades for my school orientation, and these parades actually go into the numbers of 10,000, right? So we have 10,000 first-year students, happy-go-lucky, think they could take on the world, you know, young people, young adults that are coming into their own, right? And a lot of people, if you have a whole group of people, let's think of this. The person is smart, but people could be really dumb and confusing, you know, at times. I'm not going to discredit anyone, but when there's mob mentality going, things can go awry, right? And things get problematic if people are panicked. So marshals should always be the ones facing the problem, and hecklers do aggravate people. So I'm going to need you, again, Ridwan, and I need you, and I need you. And I'm going to have you as well. So there was a heckler, and they were holding a sign. And this sign, during a school protest, and what I stand for is inclusivity and diversity. And if there's anything racist or homophobic or anything like that, I take personal offense to that. And for me, if you know me well, I have a bit of a temper. But I try to calm things down and try to deal with the situation better. But there was one person that was protesting a student parade that were just happy to be at U of T. And they were holding a sign saying, "Gays go away." And I was not having that. And I could tell that there's a lot of people that identify as being a person, you know, that's either queer or, you know, that are homosexual, if you will, in a general sense. And I wasn't having that. And I didn't want to ruin things for my students. And there's about 10,000 of them. So we're going to have you as the angry homophobe, unfortunately. You're not. I know that, right? You're going to be holding a sign up just like this, right? And you're like, you're holding it, you're yelling obscenities and all these things. So I had frosh leaders, and these are also your marshals, but my frosh leaders were there because they were there to maintain a peaceful place and just to make sure everyone's having a good time. So I had a couple UTM people come up, they're like, "Munib, what do we do?" I'm like, "I don't know, we have to block this person out." They're like, "I have an idea." So what they did is that they stood around me. We're gonna actually have to stand around, but in front, you as well, in front, and your back is gonna be facing this angry protester. Right? And your hands are going to be waving and you're cheering. And during your frosh your frosh parade, this is a very happy time. Everyone's cheering like, "Oh, I love being at U of T, Mississauga, Mississauga, woo," right? And you're doing that. You're leading chants, right? I mean, you're a frosh leader, you know that, right? But these guys are waving their arms, causing a commotion. That person is blocked out, that protester, right? But you're maintaining a good positive energy for everyone else to follow. And that makes a more infectious and contagious moment. Forget that person doesn't count, right? But everyone else in their positivity is what's going to be the center of attention. And that person was yelling at the marshals. It happened, right? But the marshals were cool. They kept it calm, and they made sure that they could stay as positive as they can. We alerted the police who were there, and we're like, "This person is being problematic and is harassing some of our people. We're going to need to take care of this." And most times you'll see a police officer, you know, understand the situation. They'll tell the person to go home. Of course, they can't arrest them. Unfortunately, our laws don't allow for people that are saying hateful language to be arrested. But it is what it is, and we did take care of the situation in a positive and calm manner. All right? Thank you again. Your aim should always be to de-escalate the situation. And if I were to look at the rally that happened on the 26th, other than that incident where the woman was beaten, disgustingly, we actually almost saw the two sides that were there, pro-Zionist, pro-Israel, and then obviously the Al-Quds people, you know, people that were there for human rights. Yeah, excuse my biases, but I'm biased to hell on it. People were going to get into an altercation. We actually saw the two of the sides converge on each other. And they were blocked off by barricades on Queen's Park, but where there was no barricades, people were going to go at it, right? And obviously, they're going to be yelling obscenities at us. At that point, we need to calm our things down as well. Marshals need to push people back if necessary. Not push people like literally, but, you know, figuratively. Guide people back to their spot, saying that we cannot deal with hate. We are not going to be hateful people or aggressive people. We're angry, yes, but we're not going to be showing it onto these people because they're not worth it, right? They're here for all the wrong reasons, and we're here for the right. So that's what you need to be sticking to your messages about when you're guiding people back into their rally, right? Your job is super important, so don't ever think any less of it by, you know, that you're just volunteering or whatever. Police relations. So Amira will be our police liaison because she's been contacting the police already. But there are specific roles for police relations. The police see their role at an action as maintaining safety and protecting property that belongs to, you know, other people, as well as, you know, city property and bystanders from damage. They also see their roles as containing demonstrators to keep us from making a commotion. All right? Marshals are there as a primary communication link between police and marchers. The police should never be telling the marchers what to do. They should be talking, speaking with the marshals in their action, right? And marshals should not be afraid of speaking to the police. They could come off very intimidating. I've been in situations like that where they are so aggressive that you feel like you have to peel back and you're like, oh, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you should arrest me. Like, that's how aggressive they get, but I'll talk about that story after. You know, not aggressively. You don't want to be a menacing person. You're there to run a peaceful rally, and that's what you should be focusing on. Approach police not as a friend. Approach them with caution, right? But not with suspicion either. You don't want to alarm people. You don't want to say that, hey, you did something bad to a police officer. Deal with it accordingly. But Amira, since has already maintained a communication link with the police, will be designated her as a police liaison, who's going to be communicating about the number of people in the rally, what the aim and objective is, the route. If there's any problems that the police face, they're not going to be speaking to anyone else unless they have to, but Amira, right? And she's going to be the main point of contact. No one else can actually do this because it's better to keep things centralized. If we have too many cooks in the kitchen, you know what's going to happen. It's just going to be a mess. So Amira will be our point of contact. Immediately contact the head marshal, the police liaison. I'll be your head marshal. Guiding the parade, I'll be at the front or wherever I need to be, but I'll most likely be at the front to keep the study going. And everyone will be able to contact me. But I'll be one of your main points of contact as well as Amira when it comes to dealing with police. If there's altercations, I want to be in the loop as well, but you know, we'll deal with it and I'll talk about it as it comes. Never, ever touch a police officer. They will call it assault. And it doesn't matter how happy you are, how sad you are, how angry you are. In any situation, police do not like to be touched, right? And I've seen many police officers that are saying that they're for the law, but they might discriminate internally, right? They might have a political siding in this issue that you're there for. And you're here not just for human rights, it's also a very political issue, unfortunately. The way I see it, very, you know, cut and dry, it's human rights, we should be there. But police officers have their own views as well. And they might get aggressive. They might be waiting for someone to say something bad or do something bad to them. So we need to be very careful not to ever touch them, right? And even if it's just a touch on the shoulder, don't do it, right? Any physical contact with a police officer on duty can result in a criminal charge of assault. At the same time, be assertive in your legal right to march in the parade. It is your civil human right in Canada under the Charter of Rights and Freedoms to assemble in a peaceful protest. You're not projecting hate. You are there for a human rights reason, and that's it. And our charter protects us of that. So we can't ever digress away from standing up for what we're there for, right? Police liaison, I've already talked about this role, but Amira will be our main liaison for that. And police officers that are not with the general crowd that understand everything, individuals might just come in that are police officers and attempt to give instructions. You already know what the plan is, and we're going to go through the plan as well, just looking at the route afterwards. But that is your plan. And if they have any problems, they could deal with the head marshal or the police liaison. But Amira would have already spoken to them. But if there's any rogue ones, you just say, hey, I'm just doing my job. Please leave me alone. I'm not saying anything to you. Please speak to Amira. And here's your contact information. That's it, right? And that's the kind of communique that you're going to be having with the police. In case of a medical emergency, in this case, you're going to have to contact me. I'm going to see if I could get a hold of some free first aid people to see if they could back us in this protest. If not, I'll contact St. John's Ambulance. But we should have some kind of connection to medical personnel. And in case there's any injured person, you know, if they trip, they hurt their ankle, someone should be alerted. If it's that kind of a bad of a situation, if someone gets into a fight, you know, God forbid, if that's the case, then we will have to call the police and an ambulance if necessary. But I'll personally, I'll survey the situation to see if there's anything wrong and what we could do to help. But everyone will be taken care of. Hopefully, we'll get my friends an expert to help. It's a first aid group that's on campus. All right, know your role. Remember, you're working for the people. Marshals should never act as police officers under any circumstances. As a marshal, you are keeping order. You are facilitating. You are not keeping order. You are facilitating an action. Marshals have no power or authority over other marchers, despite possible disagreements over tactics. People will come at you and say, I want to go here instead. Let's take 500 people to go. We're like, no, I mean, you're part of this protest. You can do whatever you want. But this is a rally that I'm going to be doing, and I'm not going to be guiding anyone else. This is something that we've already discussed and planned. If you wanted to plan, you should have met us 2 weeks ago, right? Like, be nice about it and everything, but you're there for a reason. Attempting to act as a police officer can put you into particular legal trouble if your actions are inappropriate or are themselves against the law. You should never presume to be a legal authority, right? You should know your rights. You should know the law of why you're allowed to be there, but do not tell people what to do or guide them and say, this is an arrestable offense, I'm going to put you into citizen's arrest. Don't do that. No room for that. All right, so I'll be your head marshal. I put safety liaison just in case, but I haven't met Anissa here today, but I think that's your sister, right? Right, so hopefully we'll be in touch in case I get the expert people. And then we have our police liaison. My number's there, so I suggest everyone to take it down because, you know, anything happens, anything hits the fan, I could be contacted there. All right.